So I'm riding this morning, listening to my music. I hear Aaliyah comes on. Man, and for the life of me, I can't even think of the name of the song, but it's the one off of ATL. And while I'm listening to it, I start thinking to myself, whatever happened to those women? The ones that really just wanted to love, to be loved, to be whatever it is that you needed. I mean, I get it. You know, a lot of those women stopped being those women because they ran into dudes that wasn't about shit. So, naturally, that hardens you over. It's kind of like a scab on a sore. So, then I go a little further and I'm like, alright, well, maybe it's because a bunch of these chicks then dealt with these guys and decided they wanted to be independent women. Can't blame you for wanting to be independent. You don't need to rely on no man to do anything for you. I mean, naturally, yeah, the man's supposed to be the provider, the care, hold down the household, the bills, and all those type of things. But the reality is if one day things change and that man decides he don't want to be with you, or you decide you don't want to be with that man, you need something to fall back on. So by all means, independently get money. I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with it. So then, start thinking about this generation, this day and age of what relationships are and what they ain't. And that's because most people, they don't care to try to love. I mean, it sounds good to want to be loved and say I love you to people, but the reality is that shit hurts. I mean, you give your love to somebody and they don't come through on their end, that shit hurts. You don't want to give that love out anymore. You don't want to take those chances. Yeah, you feel those ways, but the reality is you'd rather sabotage it or mess it up or pretend or whatever it is. And I'm not saying that just on the side of the women. That's for guys as well. Sorry, I saw fire trucks. But yeah, so you harden over and you don't really give it a chance, and that's why nothing ever sticks. Because you don't give it a chance. You meet a person, and the reality is you have to find out if that person's worth it or not. And in the beginning, if they doing a bunch of shit that's not worth it, they probably not worth it. But if they doing a bunch of stuff that's right, you can tell they trying their best. They're genuinely being a person, not doing something because they expect something in return or they expect to get some personal gain or some personal praise. But the reality of being what a friend is, and a friend, I mean, not by my definition, just by Muhammad Ali, which I mean I do agree with, is somebody that always gives without expecting anything in return. Your friendship is more than enough. No, I'm not supposed to give, or you're not supposed to give until you ain't got shit, but that's on you to know how much to give and not to give. But when you do give because you want to, give because you can, give because it's needed, and give because you don't expect nothing in return. The moment you expect something in return, no matter how minute, how small, how little itty bitty it is, that's not it. So, with that being said, not to drift all the way off topic, give your heart, give your all, give everything there is. Try it. What's the worst that can happen? It fails? Okay. You've fallen before. You've scraped your elbow, your knee, you bruised something. Some people have broke something. It heals. It sucks, but the reality is you won't know if that person's worth that unless you're willing to take a few bumps and bruises along the way, because that's just how it happens. Nothing's perfect. I mean, whatever you think, let me know. Drop it in the comments. Holla back.